Nice handy feature for all the scratch DJs out there. All right, right below the instant double controls, you'll see new inputs here for MIDI beat clock and outputs for MIDI beat clock, as well as some other preferences that govern how MIDI beat clock works. And this basically allows you to transmit clock to an external device, such as a drum machine, and have it follow the tempo of Torq. Or you can do the opposite. You can actually send clock into Torq and have Torq follow that. Torq is going to transmit whatever tempo is selected here as the global tempo, and any incoming MIDI clock will also govern the global tempo here. So you'll need to engage global tempo and sync your decks up to that in order to get Torq to follow any external tempo. And there's also some controls down here for offset, just in case there's any MIDI latency going on in your system. You can make the clock a little earlier or later such that it lines up with your music properly. So the way we do this, once I've selected exponent port output 2 here, I have that plugged into the input of my MPC, and I've got this really basic drum beat on the MPC right here. Very simple. But you'll hear how this now lines up with the song that I've got up here. What I'm going to do here is go ahead and start the song, and when I start the song, I actually need to still engage the external device, and that is done by clicking this button right up here at the top. It's going to turn yellow, and on the downbeat of the music, it's going to turn off, and that's when Torq is going to transmit a MIDI start, which then starts the external device running in sync on the downbeat. So let's get it going here. Okay, click. There we go. So now I'm turning up the MPC here, and it's running in sync. I'll turn down the music. There's the MPC. There's the music. And there they are together. And the nice thing now is that the MPC is going to follow the tempo changes that happen in Torq. So if I slow down this song, we're going to hear the MPC slow down as well. Or if I speed it up, it'll follow as well. Just like that. So that's a nice little handy feature for you producers that like to actually take a little more control of the music when you're performing. Not only can you just play the music that you've got, but you can start augmenting it by adding your own drum parts, layering your own loops on top, writing new bass lines, whatever you happen to do, and just share the sync back and forth over MIDI, and you'll be good to go. External control has one new preference, or I'm sorry, two actually. We talked about skip protection earlier. That was the button up here on the top. When enabled, that's going to make sure that the music continues to play if the needle comes off the record. But furthermore, we've now added a lead-in option. So if the beginning of your record happens to get worn because you've been cueing a lot with it, you can now add a rotation, or 2 rotations, or 3 rotations onto the record such that the needle actually has to play in a little further on the control record before the music will start. So that'll add actually a little bit of life to your records before you need to buy a replacement. So that's a nice little feature to have there to extend the life. And then under the behavior preferences, you can see this list is much longer than it was before. The most notable thing, other than things we've already discussed, is the new BPM detection limits and musical style that are here. Anytime you analyze a song in Torq, it's going to return a BPM that's within this range. Okay, right now I have this set to a really wide range so I can put in almost any musical style I want and get good results. But if I know I'm going to be mixing some songs that are all drum and bass, and I want to analyze those, I can just go down to the musical style here and go up and find drum and bass. And now Torq automatically sets the BPM range to something very high. So I no longer have the problem where if I put in a song that might be 120 BPM, Torq returns 60 BPM. It'll actually keep it within this range. And after you reset these, you can go into the browser now and actually right-click on a file and choose Analyze File, and that will force Torq to conduct a new analysis on the file using the new parameters that you selected. So if at first you don't succeed, go ahead and change the parameters, analyze again, and chances are you'll be really close. So that's a nice little handy thing to have there, just in case anything gets weird, especially with like some really funky hip hop or some IDM tracks that are really hard to follow. If you already know the basic tempo, just put it into the musical preferences and then Torq will run great. So that's basically it, Torq 1.5. You're going to find a lot more features inside once you actually get your hands on this thing, and I hope all of you have a really fun time doing some really creative things with it. I can't even begin to imagine what some people are going to do with all these new features once they put them to use. But I look forward to seeing anything that you all do, posting on YouTube, and look forward to your comments. Have a fun time.